Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a fascinating and honestly kind of frustrating psychological trap that pretty much all of us have fallen into at some point. We're going to explore the hidden danger of sharing your goals. Because, believe it or not, keeping your mouth shut might actually be the ultimate secret to your success. Okay, let's dive into this and look at why speaking about your dreams might actually be the very thing killing them. I want you to really think about this for a second. Have you ever told everyone about something huge you wanted to do? You know the feeling, right? Maybe you announced a new hardcore fitness routine, or a brilliant business idea, or some massive creative project. You told your friends, you posted it all over social media, and you just soaked up all that amazing encouragement. But did you notice what happened next? For some strange reason, the very next morning, that burning desire, it just vanished. Suddenly, when it was time to put in the actual work, your dream felt incredibly heavy, like pushing a boulder uphill. So, why does that happen? Well, to understand this, we need to look at a little story.
Meet Simon. Simon is a young guy from a small village, and man, is he a dreamer. He's got these massive, world-changing ambitions. But Simon has a very weird, completely self-destructive habit. Before he even lifts a single finger to begin the actual work, he tells absolutely everyone in his village about his grand plans. He would literally march through the market and shout about what he was going to accomplish. Basically, he was the human equivalent of a coming-soon movie trailer for a film that never actually gets made. And because of this, despite all his grand visions, his hands always remained completely empty.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because it creates this incredibly predictable, endless loop of failure. In week 1, he marches right into the village square and loudly declares, "I will open the biggest shop in this village." Fast forward to week 2, he completely abandons the shop idea and announces a brand new dream to the crowds. He's going to learn pottery and make the most beautiful pots anyone has ever seen. Then by week 3, it's something entirely different. Now he's building a house. He just bounces from one fleeting passion to the next, announcing every single thing, but accomplishing absolutely nothing.
So, let's break down exactly what's happening to Simon here. This is what we call the trap of early applause. When Simon announces his dream, the villagers react. They clap, they smile, they offer him all these incredibly kind, encouraging words. And in that moment, Simon feels profoundly proud. He feels important. He feels successful. He goes to bed feeling like an absolute champion. But here is the catch. He wakes up the very next day with zero energy to actually act. Why? Because the applause acted as a false reward. He got that sweet dopamine hit of success without having to do a single ounce of the heavy lifting. His drive completely vanishes because his brain literally thinks he's already crossed the finish line.
As you can probably imagine, this cycle takes a massive, massive toll. This pattern continued for years. Simon announced every single dream, people celebrated his words, but his actual life, it never changed. He felt deeply ashamed, completely unable to understand why he always failed. Deep inside, his heart just grew heavier and heavier, and he felt entirely stuck in life. That is until one evening. He's sitting all alone near the old village well, really feeling the weight of his unfulfilled potential, and he's approached by a quiet, highly respected village elder.
The elder instantly notices Simon's trouble. Simon just lets it all out, confessing his frustration. He says, "I have so many dreams, but I never finish anything. I don't know what's wrong with me." The elder simply asks him what he does when he gets a new idea. Simon admits, well, he immediately tells everyone so they'll feel proud of him. The elder just smiles this very soft, knowing smile and tells Simon to meet him the next morning. Which brings us to the elder's intervention. He takes Simon to his small garden to demonstrate a truly powerful, life-changing metaphor using nothing more than 2 simple seeds.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core concept of our explainer today using a really stark contrast. The elder gives the first seed to Simon and tells him to plant it. So Simon digs a little hole, places the seed inside, covers it with soil, hiding it completely in the dark. Then the elder takes the second seed, but instead of planting it, he holds it up high. He calls over some kids playing nearby, shows it off, and loudly brags about the massive, beautiful tree it's soon going to become. The children clap and smile. Then the elder simply places that second seed high up on a rock, fully exposed to the blazing sun, and just walks away. Okay, so weeks pass. For the first seed, the elder just quietly waters the soil. He says absolutely nothing about it to anyone. Slowly, a tiny green shoot appears, and week after week, it grows into a strong, healthy, small plant. But what about that second seed? You know, the one that got all the applause. It stayed exactly the same. Left out in the open, it just dried up in the sun. Birds came and stole little pieces of it. It never grew at all. When Simon sees this weeks later, the physical proof is just undeniable.
Standing next to the thriving plant, the elder turns to Simon and delivers this profound truth.
A seed needs silence to grow. Just let that resonate for a second. The elder explains that a seed needs darkness. It needs to stay hidden under the earth. If you leave it out in the open and talk about it, it dries up, it gets stolen, and it never ever becomes a tree. Dreams are exactly the same. They're incredibly fragile at the beginning, and they desperately require the dark protection of silence to actually take root.
So the crucial point is understanding the underlying psychology here. Why does the exposed seed die? Well, the elder breaks it down perfectly. When you share your dreams way too early, people's praise gives you immediate pleasure. Your mind is literally tricked into thinking the goal is already achieved. And because you've already felt the reward, your heart completely loses the fire to keep going. The vital energy you needed to take action, it gets entirely wasted in words. You never feel the need to finish because you already feel finished. Hearing this, Simon literally feels his face grow warm. It hits him like a ton of bricks. He realizes he has been sabotaging himself his entire life. The praise was enough, the applause was enough. So that very night, Simon makes a radical decision. He's going to try a completely new approach. He decides he's going to attempt a project, but this time, he will become the silent craftsman. He will not speak a single word of his plan to anyone, not one.
Simon chooses one simple, manageable goal: to build a wooden chair. He doesn't announce it on the village bulletin board. He doesn't gather a crowd. Every evening, after work, he just goes to a quiet little corner with some wood. And because no one knows, there are no expectations, no annoying questions, and zero pressure. He makes mistakes, he fixes them, and slowly the chair takes shape. Once he finishes it, he quietly moves on to step 2, a small table. Then step 3, a shelf and a stool. He builds all of this momentum entirely in the dark.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the profound internal transformation Simon goes through. When he finally finished that first wooden chair and actually sat on it, he felt something he had never experienced before in his entire life: real pride. This wasn't that empty, fleeting pride that comes from the cheap applause of words. No, this was the deep, solid, quiet satisfaction of building something real with his own 2 hands. The pride of doing proved to be infinitely greater than the pride of speaking.
Eventually, a neighbor just happened to see this beautiful chair outside Simon's house and was completely shocked. They said, "You never told anyone you were making this." Simon just smiled quietly and said, "I wanted to finish it first." As the years went by, word spread naturally. Simon became known throughout the entire village as a highly skilled craftsman. People respected him deeply, way more than they ever did when he was just shouting in the market, because his actions spoke far louder than his words. He finally learned to let the product speak for itself.
So let's turn this back to you. I want you to ask yourself honestly, how many dreams have you shared too early only to watch them inevitably fade away? How many times have you announced a massive goal, felt that rush of getting likes or congratulations, and then completely lost the energy to actually pursue it? When you speak about your plans, you are literally giving away your power. You're letting other people's reactions replace your own hard effort.
If you want to break this cycle, you need to protect your dreams, and here is exactly how you do it. First, keep your goals close and quiet at the very beginning. They're fragile, so guard them. Second, do not let the reactions of others replace your own effort. You have to earn that dopamine through actual work, not just talk. Third, let your ideas grow in the dark soil of hard work, where there are no expectations and no pressure. And finally, wait until the tree is strong before showing the world. Remember, the world doesn't need to know what you're building. It only needs to see what you have built.
We'll end our explainer today with this lingering thought. The next time you feel that desperate, burning urge to tell everyone about your brilliant new idea, just pause, take a breath, stay quiet, let that seed grow in the darkness. What are you building in silence? Keep it to yourself, get to work, and let the results make all the noise.